Ladies and gentlemen, it is a bright and beautiful morning here in sunny Darlington, South Carolina. We're actually just outside of Darlington, South Carolina in Florence because we are getting set for the race later today, the Southern 500. I will be there live in person, and I think it is going to be a heck of an enjoyment. And I'll be vlogging that trip, but first and foremost here today, we are going to give you guys, or I'm going to give you guys some fantasy lineup advice. Of course, $10,000 on the line here today. And that goes for the Fantasy Live, the highest scorer, and of course, the first race of the playoffs. So a completely different board, and at the end of the playoffs, whoever has the highest amount of points from those 10 races on Fantasy will also win another $10,000. So I'll try to help you. I'll try to get in it on myself, obviously. I'll show you guys my team at the end of the video as well. So first and foremost, we're going to hop on into this one. Drivers, or at least one driver that you should not have in your lineup today. You guys know he is my favorite driver, Ryan Blaney. I will be rooting for him like crazy throughout the course of the race today. But unfortunately, I don't think he's going to do well. Typically, he does decent when I go to races. It seems like he's either contending for a win and something happens, or he's just consistently in the top 10, top 5 all day and ends up getting the good finish. I do not think he's going to have a great day today. Unfortunately, he has not finished in the top 10 in his 6 Darlington starts in his career. Ryan Blaney's best finish at the track is 13th twice, both back in 2016 when he ran part-time for the Wood Brothers, and then in last year's Southern 500, he finished 13th. This isn't one of his tracks. They went here earlier this season, also obviously finished outside of the top 10 in both of those races. He's led very few laps, basically due to track strategy, pit strategy, just to get that track position. But it just doesn't work out for Blaney. This is not one of his better racetracks. That kind of worries me for the round of 12, or his chances of making the round of 12, because he's not that great at Richmond either, but we do know he has pretty good potential at Bristol. But that is then, again, do not put Ryan Blaney in your guys' fantasy lineups. Also, for this fantasy, you can only use drivers up to 5 times, but because today is a 10,000 to win, you got to have the best of the best that you can perform to get those points so you can be in the running to win that grand prize for today for the Southern 500. Dark horse picks, we got a few of them. This one I'm kind of stretching out on the limb a little bit. Usually I go with track statistics and a statistical analysis when I make my predictions. But I'm going to go Jimmie Johnson, and this is a little out on the limb. Yes, he missed the playoffs. Jimmie Johnson did run well here earlier this season in both of those races, and he's had a little bit of streaky success pretty much all season. He's had fast cars at the track most of the year. We saw him run really well in both Dover races, and obviously at Daytona he was running well until he got taken out in the second of the 2 big ones, and that derailed him from being able to make the playoffs. He would have made the playoffs if likely it wasn't for him missing out on Indianapolis due to having COVID. But I think he's going to contend for a top 10. I think he will run at or near the top 10 all day, maybe score some stage points, even though he's not really looking for it. But the way the race is set up and divided evenly, pretty much evenly through the 3 stages. They're each going to have to make 1 pit stop in each stage at some point. So realistically, Johnson, if he's in the top 10, he will get the stage points, although that's not necessarily what he needs. He's strictly going to be going for a win on his way out. This is one of his better racetracks. But even though in recent memory it might not have worked out for Jimmy so well, this year in particular, he had a car that was capable of winning the first race and the second race, because he ended up wrecking out. He was not only in a backup car for that second race, but he ended up having to work his way from the back towards the front because of his starting position. He ended up getting a top 10 out of it. So Jimmie Johnson, a little bit of a dark horse pick and a little bit out on the limb. Statistical analysis says that Eric Jones, is a potential race winner, if you ask me. Eric Jones is one of my dark horse picks. He'll likely be in my fantasy lineup today. In Eric Jones's career at Darlington, he has had 5 races dating back towards 2017. That includes the 2 races, obviously, this year, and then 3 Southern 500s. He won the Southern 500 with this very package last year and does not finish worse than 8th in his 5 career starts at Darlington. This is arguably one of his best tracks statistically, so we'll see if he can keep that streak going. Another driver that missed the playoffs, obviously, and I just think that Eric Jones is I would say he's a must-have for your lineup today. The reason why I put him at his dark horse simply because he's not in the playoffs, so we'll have to see how that might derail him. if at all. But again, with this being one of his better tracks, and he's still fighting for a contract for next year, obviously you can almost rely on him racing very hard today. And as long as he makes it through the day, I think he'll have a top 10 finish, and he will be there throughout the course of the day. Another driver that is a little bit on the flip side of things, he does have good statistical analysis over the last couple seasons at this racetrack, and that's Matt Benedetto as another dark horse pick. Matt Benedetto finished in the top 10 in last year's Southern 500 with Levine Family Racing. He's got better equipment this year with the Wood Brothers, and he finished in the top 10 in the first Darlington race. Second one didn't go so well. He finished 13th. But he does have success at the racetrack with this particular package and even with this team. The only downfall to Matt Benedetto is the fact he has not run well at all and kind of limped into the playoffs. But he's going to be fighting for every stage point, every point in general that he can, because he's the only driver to come into the playoffs without any playoff points. So Matt Benedetto is another dark horse pick there for me. My two locks and my absolute locks for today's race, first and foremost, Denny Hamlin. He almost won the Xfinity Series race yesterday. Unfortunately, obviously, things didn't go that way for those of you that watched it. And he kind of, I wouldn't say choked the win away, but he did dominate the race for the most part. Late race caution and different strategy kind of put him behind the 8-ball a little bit. Fought his way back up through the traffic. Looked like he did take the lead, and then he backed it into the wall in turns 3 and 4. Got ran into from behind from Chastain. They just had a back and forth battle. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But Denny Hamlin ran very, very well yesterday. But not only that, excluding that, his Cup Series statistics here at Darlington proves why he should be in everybody's lineup today. In 10 of the last 12 Darlington races, he has finished inside the top 10 with 3 wins, including 2 Southern 500s. And he did win, obviously, earlier this season in one of the Darlington races already. I know those were shortened races, but he still won that race in general. So he knows how to get around this racetrack, that is for certain. Another must-have and a lock in everybody's lineup for today's race is going to be Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski has had great runs, but maybe not necessarily the great finishes in the last few Southern 500s and even Darlington races in that aspect. But he's led a lot of laps, and he knows how to get around this track well. He did win the Southern 500 back in 2018, dating back to 2015. So in the last 7 races at the Darlington Raceway, Brad Keselowski has led at least 20 laps in every race, and that includes at least 79 laps in 5 of the races, leading over 100 laps 3 different times. He led nearly 200 laps in his win here, in a second place finish back in 2015, and nearly 200 laps again in the Southern 500 last season, if I remember correctly, if it was last season, but I know he was close another season. But regardless of the fact, Keselowski has led a lot of laps here. There was 2 or 3 races there he finished outside of the top 10, but when he is on it again, a runner-up finish in that time frame and a win at the racetrack. I think Keselowski is going to be in the top 10 throughout the course of the day today. He's actually had the 3rd best average finish this season as well, so he is right up there with the big 2, if you want to say big 2. He's just only got 3 wins on the season, less playoff points, so he will be fighting for every point he can throughout the course of the day today. But I think he's an absolute lock in everybody's lineup, including myself. Now, let's take a look at who is in my lineup today. So here is going to be the look at who I have in my fantasy lineup for today's Southern 500. Again, I'll be there in person. I'm so excited, so pumped for this race. At the time of finishing the recording of this, I still have about 8 hours before the race, but obviously going to get this to you ASAP. So first and foremost, we're going to put those must-haves in the lineup today. We're going to have Denny Hamlin in the lineup. We're going to have Brad Keselowski filling the void there as well. We're not going to have Ryan Blaney. We're going to stay away from him. We're going to take Logano out of the lineup. We're going to put at least one of those dark horse picks in, and that first dark horse pick is going to be Eric Jones. Once I find out where he's starting here, I think Jones will get a top 10, keep that top 10 streak going here at this racetrack. We're going to take William Byron out of the lineup today. We're going to put Kevin Harvick in the lineup simply because Harvick also did win one of these 2 Darlington races earlier this season. He's been very, very good at this specific racetrack. I don't see why Harvick can't perform well later today, and obviously when it comes to the 550 horsepower tracks, he's been very, very good. The reason why we're going to start these guys and go with all the heavy hitters simply for that 10,000 to win, obviously, at the end of the day. So we're going to put Harvick in the lineup. We're also going to put Martin Truex Jr. in the lineup. Truex, maybe not going to keep that top 4 streak alive, but he has finished in the top 4 in each of the last 8 races. Unbelievable success there. Despite not winning the race, I think he will be in the top 10 throughout the course of the day today as well. We're going to take Ryan Newman out of the lineup for our garage pick there. And we're going to go with Chase Elliott. Elliott's on the pole. And here's the reason why I'm going to go with Elliott. Again, usually I go statistical analysis here with these picks. And Elliott does have a good run. He almost won the second race here earlier this year. 3 of the last 4 races I've gone to, Chase Elliott has won. So don't be surprised if Elliott wins this race because I'm at the racetrack. I seem to be his good luck charm, even though he's not my favorite driver. He's a good guy. Not my favorite driver, not the guy I root for week in and week out. But he just seems to do well whenever I go there. It'll be electric if he does end up getting the win from the pole today, to say the least. So Chase Elliott is my pick there. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3, it's going to be the same driver I have for winning this race. I think Denny Hamlin is going to go on to win. He's had a great season, and this is one of his better racetracks for sure. He's got 3 wins here. Don't be surprised if he wins his 3rd Southern 500 again. One of those 3 wins was in a race earlier this year, so it was not the 500-mile event, this Crown Jewel race. So we're going to go Denny Hamlin. We're going to go Toyota here. So Denny Hamlin, my pick to win today's race. I think hands down, I don't see why he can't win the race, to be completely honest. I think he will definitely be the highest scorer in points throughout the course of the race today as well. So that'll be it here for this one. Like, share, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We have videos such like this. We have full race NASCAR heat live streams. We'll have NASCAR Thunder 04 coming to the series later this week for sure as well. And it should be a lot of fun to go around. So that is going to do it here for this one, everybody. Thanks for watching. Comment down below your predictions for today's race, as well as maybe who you have in your fantasy lineup. And I'll see you guys later.